social problem is a condition that at least some people in a community view as being undesirable. Social problems refer to a large group of issues that community members may feel negatively affects a certain population. An issue that affects only one individual is not a social problem. When it affects all the society, it is a social problem.
Our number five is materialism because we think it's the less problematic in the list, and buying more stuff associated with depression, anxiety, and broken relationships. It is socially destructive and self destructive. The effects of materialism are similar to brainwashing. They have undermined any personal responsibility. The persons, especially women, are only thinking and buying new shoes, clothes, and other things, instead of taking care of the more important things. We think the solution can be make the people change their mind about what is more important, like the way of thinking or health and stuff.
Our number four in our list is obesity because it's a big problem in Mexico and we had to talk about it. Obesity in Mexico is a relatively recent phenomenon, having been widespread since the 80s, with the introduction of processed food into much of the Mexican food market. Prior to that, dietary issues were limited to under and malnutrition, which is still a problem in various parts of the country. There was a man of 40 years old that, because of the death of his fathers, he started eating and eating a lot at all times. He used to weigh 250 kilograms. This is a case that was in Culiacan City like 5 years ago. The solution can be that reduce the sale of soda and junk food at schools because that increase a lot the levels of obesity in children's. And also we can reduce the marketing and publicity of junk food in our streets because that increases a lot the sale of that products.
The number three in our list is addictions. We think it's a big problem around the world and mostly in the young people. For many years, Mexico has been a well known producer of drugs such as marijuana, methamphetamine, and heroin. This is causing that more and more Mexican people get addicted to them. There are approximately 37 rehabilitation centers in Culiacan operating to reduce the cases of addicts. We think a solution can be giving talks in schools about how bad it is to get addicted to them. And also can be make publicity to make understand young people that addictions isn't a good way to have fun.
Our number two in our list is poverty. Poverty in Mexico is a measure under parameters such as nutrition, clean water, shelter, education, healthcare, social security, quality, and basic services in the household. Income and social cohesion as are defined by social development laws in the country. It is divided in two categories: moderate poverty and extreme poverty. Poverty case here in Culiacan City. 3 years ago, a woman with a little girl and her husband arrived to live at a colony named Demetrio Vallejo. In this colony, there are only 130 persons living there. So there is no electricity. The water they use, they have to take it and there isn't clean. The food they eat are beans, rice, lentils, and with tortillas sometimes. Their house is sustained by sheet only, and in times of rain they suffer a lot. A solution that we can do to reduce this problem here in our city can be talking and making publicity with the people that can and that has more than the other ones, that make little pantries to give it to the poor people so they can eat. And also we can separate the clothes that we don't need anymore or the ones that are older and that we are not gonna use it because to them are like new clothes that they can use very well.
And finally, our number one is global warming. Given the high average altitude of Mexico, the temperature change and rising sea level should have less impact on Mexico than most other countries. Still, low-lying areas in Mexico will be affected significantly. Global warming killed more than 20,000 persons a year in Mexico. The solution of this problem can be starting to use more the bicycle and public transport than our cars because this makes a lot of pollution in the air. And also we can start recycling paper and plastic bottles to because this makes a lot of trash and this affects the floor and it can be bad to the agriculture. And if we recycle the wood, we can prevent the falling trees.